I was talking about last week, making for my dog. I started working on it,
Yeah.
and I don't know what I was thinking, but it's way too big. So it's going to be for my mom. I could fit 4 of my dogs in there.
Yeah. If you said your mother-in-law, there'd be another question I would be asking there.
Make it a family urn.
No.
Yeah.
It's like the mother-in-law said to a bloke, "You didn't get me anything for Christmas," and he said, "Well, you didn't use what I gave you last year." They gave her a plot at the cemetery. How you going, Chris?
How you going, Chris? So at the end, if anything pops out of here, I've got... I'll see if this works on the camera, because I did a test before and it just shined the crap out of it and you couldn't see much. Each section has silver-backed coloured diamantes in them. If I can get them to shine, there's a couple of colours there.
Yeah, we can see
the
them.
glinting.
All right, so they're tiny, so I end up losing them everywhere. But I'll
So,
try
Jay,
again.
is that just the cheap utility epoxy from Bunnings?
That is actually Gorilla Glue. The blue is is resin, 2-part epoxy, and
Yep.
for some reason it went really rubbery on me. And it just flaked. It just popped out because I had a nice blue streak going all the way along there, and those little bits of blue that you see, that's all that's left of it.
Okay.
So I stuffed.
Yeah, I saw that when you first put it up, you had just the blue, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's little diamantes that I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Tiny.
It should make it glisten real nice.
Yeah, so if anything falls out of there, then I'll replace it with these little things. How you going, Yappy?
Hey, Yappy.
Oh,
Well, Sid, what's been keeping you busy today?
I'm mixing poisoned oats for killing rabbits with at the moment. So I've got to go to a local show or fair Saturday morning. So I've got the printer going, printing off pamphlets for that, and the cement mixer going out in the shed mixing up oats.
so no rabbit stew.
No, you wouldn't want to eat this one.
No, bugger. I like rabbit stew.
But I'll tell you what, though, next time I come up, I might see if I can try and get you a couple and have them brined up ready for you.
Working on anything, Jeff, at the moment in the shop?
No. Well, the last thing I worked on is I got some Phoenix Rising pen kits for my sister-in-law.
Yep.
She's going to be giving them away as gifts. So I've been turning those, and I've got 2 of them left where the blank just disintegrated. So picking out a new blank and get those finished. And I've been working on the top half of what is now my mother's urn.
Okay.
So the steps I got left on those 5 rings is going to be getting the sanding wheel on my lathe and flattening that all out, getting them level. Then I start working on the bottom 4.
Do you thread the tops?
You know, this is really the first one I'm making. So I've done some thread chasing, but I've not done a lot. And this one is designed to be permanently sealed. So literally the whole top, the segments are red oak, and then the top and the bottom are going to be black walnut. So the black walnut top, will be a totally separate piece that can be glued into place when she's inside.
Okay.
And then I plan on, it's gonna be kind of dome shaped on top, and I'm gonna turn a flat spot for a brass plate that'll be engraved.
Yeah, it's been 6 years, 7 years since
How you going, Sarge?
Oh,
I
Sarge.
had.
Doing good. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool.
Hey, Sarge,
Howdy, Sid.
how's
Doing
things in your neck of the woods? Still cold?
No, not really. Hold on. There it is.
Everything's relative, though, isn't it?
Yeah, we hit 52 degrees Fahrenheit today.
Oh,
Yesterday we were freezing our butts off, and today it was nice.
Yeah,
today you're
same
nearly
here.
out in a bikini.
What's that?
Today you're almost out in a bikini.
Yeah. It's for us Midwesterners. It's almost sunbathing weather.
Yeah.
Yappy, I
That
said
gets
rabbit.
to 47 degrees here.
Yeah, but don't get your hopes up. I don't know. It seems in Michigan, as soon as you think it's nice enough to go out without a shirt, or the kids are running around in shorts playing, it'll snow again.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter what the guys say on TV and the radio. The weather's going to do whatever the weather wants to do.
Yeah. Well, it's predictions. That's all it is.
That's all it is. They get paid for being wrong 50% of the time. So
I know, maybe wrong. Yeah.
I'm looking at the title of today's live, and I'm just wondering whether Jay's been drinking or smoking something.
Well, it could be that he wanted to get it done before the heat hit him.
The infamous 10mm socket. Nobody can find their 10mm socket.
You got that
Nope, the
problem
only
too?
socket I'm missing is my 8mm. Howdy, Yappy.
So what's it like in South Africa today?
So Bunnings, I suppose it's the equivalent of Harbour Freight over here, like a big chain hardware store. Actually have a brand of socket tool, King Chrome, that have a 10mm socket in a small case with an emergency break glass in case of emergency in it. Because in Australia, everyone seems to lose their 10mm socket.
Oh, yeah.
in
Great
imperial
marketing.
measurements, the socket I always lose is my 5/16, and that's the one I use
would
the
be-
most.
Which would be very close to 10mm.
Yeah. So it's the same problem here.
10mm sort of fits between a 5/16 and a 3/8.
I did mention, Jeff, that my carbide may not like this bit of wood. Well, it's not.
What was your
Is that
turning
why
speed?
Robo's not here?
Sorry.
What was your turning speed?
It's manual, so I can only go by the belt, and it's on
Oh.
the second to fastest.
Okay. Because I know carbides like speed.
Yeah, that's what Robbo said a couple of days ago too. So I've got it up. It's probably the fastest I've ever had this lathe running, to be honest.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Carbide's
So
not
just
like
hard, Jay?
Hi,
Sorry?
gentlemen.
It's just hard.
Hard. Yeah.
Well, this thing's kicked his butt for
It's
a few days now.
it's either bottle brush or it's a wattle. But I'm going by the bark at least anyway.
Hey, Dr. Bob. Yappy
Yo.
says we're supposed to be in autumn or fall, but it's so hot that it's starting to get irritated. He's starting to get irritated about it.
I
And
wonder what.
the
I
main
wonder
problem
if
is
the two of you are on the same latitude or close to it. That's
We
something I
would-
never think of when we study maps in school. But
back
just
to the,
We would be close to
on the
Yappy, yeah.
side of the world.
yeah. Can I talk now? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. The tool's catching in. There's a rather weird spot just there that the tool keeps catching in, and the split is opening up.
Oh, vibration is getting it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's vibration or if it's the tool getting caught up here in this bit.
You might want to start off with is use a bowl gouge or and just very gently go in there and get past that.
Maybe do some plunge cuts into it.
Yeah, it's end grain, so it didn't really. I don't know. You got to, if anything, I should be coming in like this and coming back out.
Yeah.
If you leave yourself space to do a finish cut, you could probably do the plunge cut on a thicker wall and then finish it with your correct orientation, which might get you past the catchy bit.
Mm.
Yappy says, but Jay, if you have a manual for the lathe, then they should show you what each setting or speed. What speed is each setting?
It most probably did when I first got the lathe Yappy, but I don't have any of the plastic covers on it anymore, and they just annoyed me too much every time I needed to change a gear. So they went Tata ages ago.
The first thing was,
And they had the belt
that it was
drive
plastic.
speeds on them, didn't they?
Sorry, what was that?
The plastic covers would have had your speed guide on it.
No,
Yeah.
they didn't. No.
Oh, okay.
Those always
was-
disappear because nobody wants to keep putting them on and taking them off.
Yeah, it was on the instructions. That was it.
You can always look it up. It'll be in any sales catalog that sells that because that's the selling point. And then take a magic marker and write it on the leg of the lathe.
Kathy says, what's the name of the lathe, Dave? Go Google it.
Already on it.
Got it. But earlier, Yappy says, yes, like Australia, we're in the southern hemisphere, so we should be coming out of, so we're coming out of summer now. Also likes the turning bottle brush, have lovely grain.
I don't know. Do we have anything equivalent to it, Jeff? Under a local name? 'Cause I
Well,
notice
it
a lot
looks
of wood
like-
seem to be
Yeah, you all right?
the same wood but different names.
Yeah. What kind of wood is this?
Bottle brush is what they call it
Oh,
Uh-oh.
in Africa.
You got to catch. Yeah, I've never heard of it. Let me Google that.
Banksia or an acacia. So an acacia if it's a wattle, a Banksia if it's a bottle brush. It could be the rare flying acacia.
Yeah, I think it might be. Hey,
Well, the bottle
does
brush
have
tree is a
wings.
beautiful tree.
do you know where it's
Yeah.
going to fly in a minute if it doesn't behave itself?
Well, I'm glad I'm far enough away that hopefully you can't throw this far. If that gives you
Yeah.
a clue that I'm.
I'll be able to enter the Olympics of wood throwing soon, I'll tell you.
Well, with everything they're adding in, it's just a matter of time.
So the sales pitch says the speed range is from 300 to 3,200 RPM.
And I'm one belt down from the fastest speed.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. It's got a PDF on there which will give the owner's manual. So I'm just having a look at that.
I don't know if you can see those lilies in there or not, the yellow
Yeah.
the lily.
Well, my suggestion is to keep frustration down, and because of your lack of variety of tools, is take it with you when you go to Robo's for the week.
Oh, trust me, I've got stuff planned for Robbo's. I don't think I'll have time for that, eh? I've got some pretty fancy shapes that I'm going to be doing at Robbo's house. I've got them all lined up. I've been asking him, can I make this? Can I make this? Can I make this? He's like, yep, wait till you get here. And then I've got apparently I've got a burl to turn as well.
Wow.
So I'm fingers crossed I can have a live at his house.
Probably.
Well, you've been to one of Cindy Drosta's class, so you've watched her turn burls.
Yeah.
And there isn't a better person I know that does work with burls than her.
Oh,
At
Chris
least
Ramsey.
Delicate work.
Oh, yeah, delicate work. I know Chris Ramsey works almost exclusively in burls now.
Yeah, that's big stuff, though.
Yeah.
I just am amazed on the detail that she gets on the small stuff.
All right. Just to be honest, I didn't prepare for this, so I'm just looking for another piece of wood.
Did you break your tenon?
Nah, but it's kind of giving me the shits at the moment, so I'm going to find an easier piece to do.
It's a bit like, hey, when I turned for you the other day, Joe, I had one, broke it again, put another
Yep.
one on, broke it. I had to go for the third one.
Yep. And you did it all live, and the recovery was amazing.
It just doesn't matter.
Right.
No,
You're doing it for fun.
I had a bowl
I didn't
that
have to do what Dr. Bob does and take a like a 12-inch log and turn it down to a toothpick to get the anger out.
Well, I did a lot of that in my early days of turning. You know, I'd go downstairs and I'd turn and not make anything, just piles of shavings. And I was just get my
That's
frustrations
making
out from
something.
work.
That's making shavings.
Yeah.
You're making hamster
You
bedding.
want to know
I
something
was going to
funny?
say making better.
Got bloody the shavings I'd get off my lathe, I'd bark it, box them up, and just pure wood shavings. I can't give them away,
Yeah.
but I can sell them.
Yeah.
I can put them in the community store and sell them for $5 a box, but I can't give them away.
That's crazy.
Well, there's value to them when you sell them. There's an implied value.
Well, it's a bit like people when I don't know whether it's the same everywhere else, but down here, if you've got somebody who's got kittens or puppies and they put them up on the local buy, swap and sell pages to give away, they struggle to get rid of them. But if they put them up to sell, they can get rid of them, and they've got a backlog of people waiting for them.
Yeah. Well, that's the same way with a lot of things. You know, my son is a techno music producer, and he teaches how to do it. And for the longest time, I was saying, you're not charging enough. People aren't going to value your knowledge. And I finally got him to increase the price, and he's got more students now.
It's yeah. It seems counterintuitive, but it's right.
I know.
If
Well,
people
and-
think that you don't, if people think that you don't value something, they won't value it either.
Yeah, and it's the same when I do craft shows and stuff like that. I've got to kind of toe a fine line of what I can charge or not, but I'm going to charge something that is respectful of that item and the time I put into it and everything. And I sell a lot more since I raised the prices, or at least until COVID hit. So.
Yeah.
How are you going after your vaccination, Dr. Bob?
Oh, the only problem I had after the second one was about 2 days later, my shoulders and neck would bother me. And I found when I went to bed, it bothered me the most trying to get comfortable on a pillow. So my instant doctor through the VA with video chat, I brought it up one day because I got a text message, how do I feel? Let me know if anything happens. We're trying to keep some statistics. And I answered the text, said, well, I had the problem. And next thing I know, about 10 minutes later, he's connecting on my tablet to me when we talked about it. I said, well, just take a heating pad.
Yep.
Put it on your pillow.
My wife's mother, who was 89 years old, she's dealing with rashes all over her body.
I just had that. Everybody seems to be a little different.
Yeah.
The infamous mother-in-law.
The infamous mother-in-law, yeah. We get along, though.
Did the pain hang around for long, Dr. Bob? Went away after a few days?
Once I got heat on it, he suspects that it was just tension. Now, it could be that it was tension not because of the shot or psychosomatic tension, because that a lot of people have because they hear all sorts of stuff on the news, so you can't help it because you want to be one of them subconsciously. And
psychosomatic or not, though, it still hurts.
Right.
Yeah.
But a little bit of heat took it away.
That's not too bad.
I didn't have any problem. Later in the day, I did when I got out of the shop and was busy trying to just relax and fix dinner, and a little bit of heat at night, and it was gone.
Good. Well, this ought to be interesting.
Oh. I like your thought process. I do.
Yeah. So you're going to do a winged ball?
Sure looks that way.
Oh, I'm going to attempt it at least, yeah. Don't know how I'm going to go with these little fellas there, but this one here and one here, but we'll soon find out.
If that holds together well enough for you to get a tenon on it, you should be right.
Yeah.
So, Sarge, you decide to get a lathe yet?
Nope, still haven't made the money or the time yet.
It's going to be the time that's the hard bit, I find.
Yeah, I need a few more storms. Good grief, Jay! You look like you were beating. The whole shed was shaking.
Look, well, when I bumped the camera on Robbo the other day, because I don't know whether you're familiar with, he's got Meniere's disease, which is like an inner ear disease,
Right.
and it amplifies any sort of movement and affects your balance. So
Oh
when I
yeah,
bumped the camera, he would have been sitting on the chair and he would have been going, oh.
he always
Yeah.
trips out whenever I leave my computer, either mine or my wife's computer, on the chair and get up, because between the rocking chair and
Yeah,
the log wallpaper back there, it trips him out every time.
yeah, that's the Meniere's disease. My
Yeah.
dad had it, and yeah, it plays havoc with your balance.
But honestly, I didn't even know that it's an actual problem. I thought he was just making, sticking me like I stick him all the time.
Well, that was
But,
probably just an added bonus.
right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I better go back to work, so I'll catch you all later. I'll drop back in and have another look at this, Jay, when I get back tonight.
Okay. Good seeing you, Sid. Take care.
See you, Sid.
See you guys.
See ya.
See you, Jay. See you, Yappy.
Bye.
So we're not going to have Robbo tonight?
No, he had to go pick up something, and he doesn't know how long he's going to be.
Ah, okay.
So you might see a little bit go flying, because I don't remember cutting it here, but apparently I did. So that almost just go eventually. If anyone hears a rattling noise, it's just my handle on the end. It doesn't waver into my headstock staying on there or anything. It's just a handle that doesn't like to be stayed done up by the grub screw, apparently.
Put some Loctite on it.
I've put glue on it. I've put shitloads of glue on it. I've scrubbed the glue out, put another grub screw in there, more glue. Still comes undone. I'll give up on it. It doesn't go any looser. It just gets to that little bit where it can wobble, and that's it. It's very strange.
Well, Jeff, Sarge is one of the fearless people. I don't know if you knew it, that is a high tension type electrical person that took a vacation down south to the snow damaged parts of the country to get them back electricity.
Oh, wow.
Yep, went down to Mississippi and just got back Friday. My dogs are wound up. The little one goes jumping over the couches because they're kind of butted up, but there's space in between them. So jump over the couch, in behind the long couch, and run. And the other two big dogs would go chasing him. It's like a rabbit at a greyhound race.
Really? Really? Oh!
You got the German horse over there.
Oh, yeah.
And not one of them is a year old yet.
As babies, they seem to be more fun. Then they mellow out,
Yeah.
and they know how to work you, just like a
Oh, yeah.
kid.
Oh, yeah.
They learn that. You don't train a dog; they train you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know my dog was a young one. I always said that if I had half that energy, I'd blow up.
Right.
Yeah, I've not had dogs as a pet until, and it was kind of a bad thing. But in Alaska, when I was working up there,
You're
the university, they gave me housing, and my neighbor was a musher. It was on university campus property in the bush, but he had a big kennel, and the person who had lived in the house that they gave me to use in, it was a log house, used to have dogs, so it had a kennel also in the back. It'd been empty for like 5 months or so prior to me getting up there because they were rechinking it and putting a bunch of sensors in the wood and the walls and stuff so they could do some testing of different types of chinking and insulation, and had chart recorders all stacked in the garage on the wall. And once a day, I'd have to come out and change them all. And that was part of me getting it for free, is taking the data back to campus and dropping it off once a week at the people who were doing the testing. But they had the dogs in the kennel in the back of the cabin I moved into, log house. And I soon learned to have dogs and being able to help work them out in the summer when I went up there, because they'd put them on a wagon and put them on a lead in a wagon with big oversized wheels on it. And it was fun. I didn't know how to handle it. Never had a dog, let alone a working dog.
Right.
So that was interesting. And then I ended up having one that as a pet, because it was a runt and it wouldn't have been good for pulling anything. So he told me, well, you can make a pet out of this, a house pet, but I can't use them. And it was a Samoyed, a true Samoyed, one blue and one brown eye.
Mm.
And I didn't know that's how you could tell a true Samoyed, that they have one blue and one brown eyes.
Oh. Isn't that what Matt Harbor has, the Samoyeds?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Because I remember asking him once about that. And yeah.
Yeah.
Said,
They
"Not
don't
many."
like it unless it gets real cold outside.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, my German Shepherd would rather be outside most of the time than inside.
Yeah.
The other two, they'd rather be inside.
Yeah, this dog here, it doesn't like outdoors. Come summer, it does. Fall and spring, it just likes to sit on the deck and stare at the squirrels and then chase them.
Yeah, my last dog was never concerned about other animals. We have squirrels in the yard. He didn't pay any attention to them. The only thing that he would chase away is geese, which is perfectly fine with me. He didn't like having those around, but we'd have deer come in the yard. He wouldn't think twice about it. No. Rabbits or anything. Just
You used to work for a car company, didn't you?
me.
Yeah.
I worked for EDS for 4 years during the EDS GM merger.
Ah, okay.
I was the chief telecom liaison officer to Roger Smith and Ross Perot. Ross Perot hired me.
Oh.
So those were the war years. Yeah, those two did not get along. Two different mindsets. You know, Roger was a bean counter, which is like the last person you want to have be CEO of a manufacturing company. And Ross was the kind of guy, you know, you do whatever it takes to get it done. And and so one of the things that really cheesed off a lot of people was we were going in and we were taking projects that GM had been working on for 5 and 6 years and finishing them in 18 months. You know, and they still had another 10 years planned on them, and we'd finish them in 18 months and bring them in under budget. But and that's what I liked about working with Ross. And
Yeah, I was, as a kid, brought up in Ford country, so
yeah,
I knew a lot of people from Ford Motor. Used to go to church with them. It was interesting. In high school, Lee's daughter for a semester,
yeah,
and I learned how business people think. I learned how her father thought uh, because she used me to pass physics, and that was it. And then I was a has been, and she was off to another social clique.
right.
And that kind of hurts your ego.
Yeah, yeah.
And
My
I'd go to,
grandparents who raised me,
we'd go to church together. We went to the same church, had known each other through church, knew each other's
mhm.
families.
And my grandparents who raised me, they were diehard GM. Always had Impalas, and when I was 18, I got a Gran Torino. Oh man, you would have think I committed a great sin. You know? And it wasn't a great car either. It was pretty beat up when I got it. And then when the engine blew on it, I turned around and bought a 40 Econoline 350 van. You know, that was the greatest of all sins. You know?
Oh, my worst thing that I had, and my father worked for Ford, and he never could say what he did because it kind of changed as he was a troubleshooter.
Hmm.
And when I was in high school, I worked for Ford uh, Media Production in the glass house basement because they had full motion picture editing and processing. They
Yeah,
did the souping. A I
I
worked
was
as
down there. Yeah,
grip, and then it ended up not just being a grip. It's like we're going to. That's back in the days where you had car clubs for
yeah.
models of cars, and we followed a couple of the clubs around during the summer when I was 17, 16, 17 years old as a grip. Uh, and then I could set everything up. I could have the cameras on tripod and leveled and ready for a cameraman. And they always took extra cameras. So when they had the programs, it was, well, would you like to try to roll some film? Don't we don't know. We just we get paid by how much we shoot to give the editors, and yeah, because I had a Bolex Rex 5 wind up 8 millimeter camera because I got involved in filmmaking at a young age.
Hmm.
Walked off with third place in the Michigan Junior Filmmakers Contest one year in a movie I made called Spying for Fun and Profit. Did that in high school. But and it was a total spoof on the Bond.
Yeah.
Uh, Shot in local shopping centers, But it was fun. But they treated me well. I was part of the group. Uh, so I did a lot of the film work, but I was also a geek. I am radio operator and broadcast. So it was really interesting when we'd go to the car shows, and it was like, well, the young girls are down at the end of the track down there because they'd often go out to places that had race car tracks, and then they would take and all the latest models, and anyone who had a Mustang would have them all polished up to show. Then they'd do a trip around the grandstand so
Hmm.
everybody could see their cars. And used to shoot a lot of film for that. And I got to know a lot of the execs at Ford at the time because of that. That's what got me into doing film work.
Interesting. Well, I was in the entertainment business a lot, but I never did film work.
Yeah.
Been on TV a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Doing.
used to, senior year of high school, I was a weekend chief engineer for Channel 4 TV.
Yeah.
Had to put up with drunken Sonny Elliott doing the 10 o'clock news or weather
Yeah.
with his Inga Dinga Dinga Dine.
Yeah. Sunny was something.
Oh, yeah. He tipped well. He didn't have to. I was an employee, but I'd have to go down the street to pull him out of the bar and get him back in time and prop him up to do his weather and then to make sure there was a cab waiting to take him home.
I've heard more stories about Sunny. Um, I met him one time at an event. It was when they used to have the world's biggest office parties at the Hyatt in Dearborn,
Yes.
and I met him there one time. And I joked around with one of the guys that I was talking to. I says, "Well, he's not all tipsy like everybody says he is." And he goes, "That's because it's early."
Yes. Bill Bonds, too, was a big.
Oh, Bill Bonds, yeah, and
Oh,
he was a mean drunk too.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had several times was the cameraman on site to do commercials with him
Hmm.
when I was working in high school at the Channel 4.
Yeah.
And they were still shooting 16 millimeter, and I was good at that
Hmm.
because I'd done it for Ford. And
I
I'd
actually
take
have a friend who
picture.
was in. I have a friend who was in rehab with Bill Bonds back in the early '90s,
Oh,
and said he was pretty pleasant then. But I said that's because he wasn't stinking drunk like he was.
yeah, it was
John
16.
Kelly was he wasn't a drunk, but he was just a nasty SOB.
Yeah, yeah, it was some weird days here in Detroit.
Yeah.
And at one time, I had a bunch of people in Dearborn try to get my FCC license taken away, first phone, broadcast endorsement, because I was involved as being a NEMO engineer. If you remember what NEMO meant,
Hmm.
not emanating this source, meaning you had a remote truck
Right.
or a board that you plugged into a phone jack. But we were doing a high school fundraiser in Dearborn at one of the big car dealerships, and leave it to the varsity football team because they were raising money to get new wood to go on the stands at that time it was still Taylor Township High School uh, home side of the football field that needed new planking put down. And the school board said, we'll match whatever you earn.
Hmm.
So they decided to go out and they used a big Ford dealership that got permission to spin records there, had the remote truck from Keener 13.
Yeah.
And I was chief engineer. I didn't have to run the board or anything because the kids did that. They were peers, but that's what they did. I just had to sit and monitor what was going out over the phone line and watch
Hmm.
that connection. And that's when the rock piece or song Alley Oop, remember? Alley
Yep.
Oop, the caveman?
Yep.
No matter what was announced that they were going to play, they played Alley Oop for 2 hours.
That was on Keener 13.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it backed up. It backed up Michigan Avenue like you wouldn't believe. The police were there directing traffic. People were coming because one of the kids was in caveman costume from the drama department up on top of the dealership, jumping up and down like he's Alley, the caveman. And they blocked the street. The police kept saying, "You got to get out of here, stop it." And the
Yeah.
kids played that up so well, it made history.
I'm just having something to eat. I'll be like 5 minutes at the most. That's why
Okay.
I put it back into the screen.
After, I think it was 2 hour time slot that they had been given for airtime. And even the station announcers, because I was on IFB, feedback to the chief engineer on a bi-directional talk channel. And they were laughing their heads off that back at the station, every time they tried to we had to give station break time and the news and the weather. They said they had to bite their cheeks to stop from laughing because their switchboard was totally overloaded. They had been that big. They had like 20 lines coming in, and they were all tied up waiting to see if this was real and how they could donate money to buy a board to get the caveman off the dealership. They raised $13,000.
God, that's funny.
And it was outlawed. The FCC said we couldn't do that anymore because we became a traffic hazard.
Yeah.
Dearborn police, they were understanding, but we were from the township, Taylor Township, not, we were on the wrong side of the tracks.
Right.
Because they couldn't raise that much money for anything they did. They always followed protocol. But it was interesting.
Yeah. Oh, Bob, I was going to tell you, I was at Mike Lenaway's shop on Friday.
Oh.
I swung by there, and he's got that Nova Galaxy, and that's a really nice lathe.
Good night, Yappy, or good morning.
Well, yeah, it is morning, but then again.
Yeah, he's just got off a long night.
Yeah. Yeah, he comes in a lot. That's why I say Jay attracts people from, 3 continents, sometimes 4 on a night. I don't know any other online that does on a regular basis. Everywhere from Sweden to Africa, Australia, often England.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah, you don't want to see how I put it in. No, it was just a small burger. Just
Did
a
you
little
taste
cheese
it?
burger. Yeah, it did.
Sure. Oh, yeah, it's good.
As long as you don't have smell-o-vision, you'll be right, all right?
Yeah, and
That's all I'm saying.
you'd probably kick me off the panel if you had smell-o-vision.
You wouldn't let me back in my own live.
They actually played with that in Great Britain as an experiment, where they would have 4 or 5 little remote-controlled aerosol or like perfume pumps that were motor-driven. And out of the 4 scents, they could make all sorts of different complements. And you could smell like burgers cooking or, different items that had aroma to it. And it worked. but it was just a novelty.
Right.
So does anyone want to come over and sand this for me? I'm not looking forward to this bit.
I wouldn't want to deprive you of the joy.
Oh. I'm going home.
It's
I'm
got
taking my
character
back and
to
ball
it.
and I'm going home.
I was working on some last week. I was working on some mulberry bowls, and that's a wood that scratches real easy. You got to really be careful when you sand it.
Yeah. The thing is, it's not a wood.
It's not.
I was told by a couple of arborists the stuff that I was doing here was a vine, and vines aren't classified as a wood. They have another classification for them. And bushes, stuff like that.
Well, mulberry is a
Mulberry
big tree, though.
Yeah, but it starts. Well, you might. They.
Yeah.
I thought they also had the smaller ones that were a mulberry bush.
I don't remember ever seeing those. There's a beautiful bush out in the Pacific Southwest called American smokewood, and it can grow up to 3 stories tall. And I've actually gotten a hold of some and made pens out of the wood. Just gorgeous stuff. But I'll tell you what, it's like you got to go really light cuts that or stabilize it, but just very light cuts. So it takes a while to turn. But I'll tell you, when you get done with it, and those are pens I could never keep in stock. And now all of a sudden I've been trying to find some more, and I haven't come across any. So I've got word out to some people that I know out on the West Coast to keep an eye out for me.
About 6 weeks ago, I had an interesting phone call from Terry Williams' sister.
Oh,
And
yeah, Terry.
He evidently had a bunch of stuff stored at her place in a garage, in the back of a shed, and it was some wood that he had, and some old tools.
Mm-hmm.
So, because he had a mini lathe to start off with,
Right.
That was kept up at the family.
Hello, John.
Hello, John.
How are you? How's everybody?
Doing good. How are you?
Well, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Now we got someone from Alaska too. Now,
How's the weather up there?
Well, actually, it's sitting right around maybe 15 Fahrenheit. Beautiful day today. Moon is shining.
We actually had a couple weeks ago when we were in the frigid temperatures. You guys were warmer than us.
Yeah, we do that once in a while so you can enjoy the winter.
Yeah, that was most of 2015. The winter of 2015. You guys were always warmer than us.
Yeah.
And, but we hit 52 today. So.
Well, you're getting up to summer.
Yeah, it's a great improvement. I want more.
as long as the mud goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mud's the worst part.
Well, you know, that's the one thing I don't have to worry about now with my dog being gone. You know, he always tracking mud in the house in the spring and the end of winter.
That's what I have.
Yeah. And,
what's worse is that someone will let him out in the middle of the night, and next thing I know, he's jumping on my bed to curl up next to me. That prefers to
covered
sleep.
in mud. Yeah.
Yes. You know, it's like when I go to bed, I take an old blanket and go on top of everything.
Yeah.
Because I can take that, shake it out, and use it again the next night because I know the mud's going to be there.
Yeah. You know, mine, he couldn't just stand there and bark. He bounced when he barked. So whenever he was in the mud, he just splashed it all over him. And he's just head to toe, black mud. And
That adds a little bit of bark to the bark, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Hello,
Yeah.
Effie.
well, I tried to get signed in last night and I missed the slot apparently, and I wanted to watch Robo's demo on the SKU.
Yeah, he changed his mind and did it on gouges. And it's
John,
online, and you got to see it.
I put a link to that that video if you want to watch it in the private chat, John.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll do that.
I mean, I didn't think there were so many different SKUs that existed, and he kept saying that he only had a few. But he had one of everything and every angle you could think of.
Well, I can see why.
And every
because of the
grind
work he
that
does.
he went through all the different grinds, the popular
did he?
ones. Yep. It was very impressive. Then he took requests and he just kept chucking up different pieces of wood to demonstrate different cuts for people. It was 2 hours worth, and it was really good.
You had a lot of people viewing it?
I'm not
Big
sure
audience?
because he was center screen, and I was so involved I didn't follow the chat. There was someone that Jay took care of that and answered or brought the questions as they came up.
It was about 7 or 8 people watching. More people watched the replay afterwards. Yeah, Sarge, the next time we do something like that with Robbo or someone else turning, you're more than welcome to turn your mic on when there's a question in the chat. If Robbo doesn't see it before we do, you don't have to stay completely null and void.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think I spent more time chatting in the chat last night.
Yeah.
It's fine. But I also had a wild house too, so I didn't want it to interfere.
Well, my chore this evening is going through copies of the old woodshop news that a friend gave me and removing or clipping out several of the writers that are in that particular publication, or used to be. I don't know if they still are. But one of my favorites is Bob Flexner, the finishing expert. He really knows these finishes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He knows how to reduce them to the essentials. I guess you could say the essential 3 if I remember the count right. Take away the labels and you have basically 3 finishes.
Is this strictly for turning?
No, this is for general commercial woodwork.
Oh,
And
okay.
You see that there?
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it looks pretty much the same now, but it's this was
Go ahead and put
October
it back up, John.
October of '96,
Okay.
and it's quite a good publication because they introduce all the new tools and modifications to machine tools and hand tools and such as they come out, and well, a lot of the members of our woodworking club up here subscribed to it. One fellow had I think when he left to go move down to Washington State, he left behind a about 5 or 6 years worth of issues
Hmm.
in my care. And I discovered them when I was going through a box today. They were on the bottom. Then I remembered why I kept them, which was to get these particular columns and tips and techniques and such for the home woodworker. It helps our furniture making people quite a lot.
Well, anything about finishing is important. Almost any woodworker.
Yeah. Yep.
It's surprising the stuff that I've seen in finishing that wood turners have come up with all these friction polishes and everything. But if you talk to a real woodworker, or not to insult them, but the slang is a flat worker today,
Yeah.
they sit there and they cringe at what we use.
Well,
cringe at it?
A lot of us use friction polishes because they're easy.
Yeah.
I did in my early days. I don't use it at all anymore because it's just not a very durable finish.
Well, it's
And
like
there's-
doing a French finish or French polish on a flat piece like a piano.
Yeah.
You get your usual friction polish I've dealt with are about a third of boiled linseed oil, a third alcohol, denatured alcohol, and a third whatever your finish is going to be, which or what you would hope it was going to be. So it would either be a poly or a tung oil or walnut oil, something like that. And it works, but like you say, the durability is not there. And if you put a damp glass down on top of a piano or a table, immediately you get a ring.
Right. Well, Bob, at our next club meeting, I'm actually doing the demo, and I'm going to talk about CA finishes, including on bowls.
Oh.
Yeah.
When you do CA, do you mix anything with it?
Well, I'm experimenting 2 different ways. I got Mark Soleil's way, using the Parfix, and you just put 1 coat on because Parfix is odor-free, and it has about a 50-second working time. So you can just put it on real thick, then wipe it off a little bit, and then stop the lathe, and then take a clean cloth and wipe off any of the excess, just like you would with a stain. And then buff it with white diamond, and you've got a nice luster, nice satin finish.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman here in Coldwater, Michigan named Michael Paul, who I befriended, and he does it where he does 3 coats each, where he's using the Parfix. He's putting on boiled linseed oil first, and then the Parfix. Then he sands at 320. Then he repeats that, and he does that 3 times. And after doing that 3 times, then he takes a paper towel, and he gets the lathe up to about 1,000 RPM and rubs it all off with the paper towel, and it just shines just as nice as can be.
Hello, John S.
I know you'll get one statement from Robbo a lot on that demo, and it is CA isn't a finish.
Yeah.
You'll get that a lot from Robbo. Oh, he'll be like, oh.
Well, we get that in our club too. There's guys that there's guys like Robbo don't like pens. They don't consider guys who turn pens to be world turners. And that's fine. Everybody's got their opinion. They got their thing that they like.
Yep.
And using carbide tools to turn pens.
Yeah.
Or turn anything.
Actually, I don't like carbide tools for turning pens.
Besides hollow.
Stuff like that. Yep. I find using carbide tools with pen blanks, you got a better chance of chipping sections off. And so I've never been a fan of those for that. about all I use carbide tools for is hollowing now.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what he says that
Yep.
they're good for.
And I will use it in the case of I've got a lot of ambrosia maple that is very, very dry. So it tears real easily. So what I'll do is when I get down to about 3/8 of an inch, I'll take it the rest of the way down to a quarter with a carbide tool at a 45-degree angle and just take very light cuts. And that
Sure
gets rid of all
straightens it.
that tear out. So we've also got guys in the club that think friction polish is the only way to go, you know?
Oh yeah.
So, and one of the
But
things we're really gonna be teaching a lot of the newer turners this year, and actually some of the people who've been turning for a while, is what a true finish is. And a true finish is your sanding. It's not what you're putting on top of everything.
Exactly. That's correct.
And some people don't get that, you know, but you know, if you've got scratches when you're done sanding, you're going to have scratches when you're done putting shellac on or anything,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
So we've got one of our true artists in our club is going to be doing a demo on that, and I'm going to be talking about that in my demo, clarifying what I'm calling finish is not really being finished. It's basically coating
Yeah.
or
What I would
protection.
say.
Yep.
Well, the thing is, in my opinion, you have a finish you do, and then you put something on to protect it.
Right. Right.
Yep. Well,
You know,
same
I
thing when you're
often
doing
will
steel
wet
iron work. It's the
sand.
same deal.
You know, I'll often wet sand up to 3,000 to get the finish I want,
Yeah.
and then I'll take it from there and put it on something. I got that from Cindy Drozda.
You do that on wood too, wet sand?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yep,
okay.
so
Sometimes
do
it's
I.
just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeps the dust down. The other thing you can do is put some Fitus wax or something of that order on whatever you're sanding with, and you're essentially sanding through a wax, and it captures all the dust. You don't have a dusty sanding operation, and
Yeah.
Well, wet
I know
sanding will also pick out the grain too, so you're pretty much picking it up and cutting it off at the same
that's
time.
right.
Carl Jacobson likes to use different oils for sanding to keep the dust and stuff down. He gets some beautiful finishes. And the things he's been using lately is Howard's Feed and Wax. He's been using that for sanding.
Mm-hmm.
well, this is one that I was with Cindy in one of her classes and won this. I won twice out of all the classes. But she did this and she finished it. It's got a line to hold it together as an ornament, but you can't work on the insides with it connected. But I don't have any finish, and she didn't finish the inside whatsoever. So that's what I do now when I can sit and watch the boob tube or something at night, and I have stuff that goes up what I've got on here now to show all of the detail work and the burl is the fact that this was taken up to 3,000.
Oh, wow.
And it really
Pretty.
helps, I think. There's no finish on it. It's just sanded to 3,000, wet sanded to 3,000. And I've got the paper I should get because I get it. It's wet dry paper.
Yeah.
And I'll use an oil with it. And I thought that give that a try. I talked to her about different things. And one thing I found really works well for wet sanding, and I won't say where I get them, but find it here. It's a pharmacy item.
Uh-huh.
Good old-fashioned wet tears.
Really?
If you're familiar with it.
Yeah. Yep.
I get them on a regular basis, enough for 2 a day through the VA. Because it's one problem with people that have, like I've had a lot of eye surgery, but still tear ducts have a problem. When you get older, they get plugged up. So it's
Interesting.
that's what I use the wet sand with when I start going above 2,000. There's no impurities whatsoever in it. It's totally sterile.
It's a saline solution, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Pharmaceutical grade.
Yep.
I got highlighted somehow.
LJ's video froze, so I think he backed out. Now he's coming back in.
Well, he was frozen for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, he probably had to reset it.
No, I didn't even know it had gone out. I just looked up at the monitor and seen it said reload the page. It's like, okay, sure.
We just figured you were showing us in really slow motion.
No. I looked up and I was going to say, all right, who's doing the illegal? No one's talking. That's illegal. Sorry.
Well, how's your weather down under?
Said it was good, John.
Well, it's not too bad.
25, 24.
Yeah, 127, I think, but that's
85.
Celsius, so it's 85 Fahrenheit.
Yep.
That barely works up a sweat, does it?
No, it's nice and mild. I've got a
But you don't have much humidity out where you're at, Jay. I think. You have a high humidity?
yeah. Normally we'd have a lot, but not today. It's nice.
How close are you to the water?
About a 15-minute drive, I suppose. 15 minutes in an 80k zone.
Uh-huh.
Not really that
You go
far away.
boating? Do you
No.
like to go boating?
No, we've got swamps and stuff like that. Right, like 500 meters up the road. But
Oh, yeah. Mosquitoes.
yeah, the only time I'd go to the beach would be to walk along it, I suppose. You know.
Go look for some driftwood.
No, you're not lucky enough to get that around here. If anything, it's a piece of jetty that broke off.
Well, listen, I'm probably going to sign off early tonight. I'm getting pretty tired. I got to get up early in the morning, so
Ah, Okay.
It was good to see
Well,
everybody.
Good to
See you, Jeff.
You guys take care.
Always welcome.
Okie dokie.
Take it easy.
Probably see you next Wednesday.
Yeah, no worries. I'll be here.
Okay. Good
Take
night.
a look at Robo's video when you get a chance.
I will do that.
That's
will
the
do
type
that.
of demo he'll probably want to, he said he'd do one for the club.
Yeah, that would go over really well.
So take a look at it and then he'll do that one. And the interaction the club would have, how do you do this or that? He seemed to always have a piece of wood handy to demonstrate,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that, and I think he still teaches classes and stuff like that every once in a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you all take care then.
see you. Jeff.
Take
Take
care.
it easy.
See you next week.
See ya.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Well, John, what are you doing in your shop?
Well, I'm actually
You've been doing.
reorganizing it a little bit and straighten up. I haven't. I dug out some pieces from the pile to start turning. I haven't been turning lately. The fact is, I haven't turned since before Christmas. But I used the shop as a place to stuff things in to get it out of the weather, and it was just a real conglomeration. It's like a
Weren't you turning in
McGee's
Hawaii?
closet where everything gets shoved in.
Old Fibber McGee, yeah.
Yep. I'll never forget that. I used to listen to that when I was a kid on my grandfather's radio. This was back
So did I.
right after the war, and Fibber McGee and Molly, had a good routine going, and the sound effects that went with the opening of the closet door, just classic.
Yes. The thing is, I've listened to it last night.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that's one thing that I find from the voice assistants. They have
Oh, is it?
a massive library,
Uh-huh.
and you can go through and pick. It's like YouTube. There's a ton of providers giving you almost anything that you can put up on the Alexa,
Uh-huh.
and you can simply. They treat it like a book, and you say, open this, and you give it the name of the book or the program or the music outlet or whatever. There's literally 1,000 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all accessible through the app. And it's interesting because the biggest one that you might like, if you have one, is it's Radio Old Time.
Yeah.
And they have 30,000 radio shows.
Well, I remember listening to the Green Hornet
Or-
and Mr. and Mrs. North and
Yes,
Dick Tracy, Batman, I
Dragnet.
think.
Dragnet started on it.
Yeah.
And of course, Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yes. You got to have
And they
Sherlock.
twisted it to think, they really made you think that Watson was still alive. And of
Yeah.
course, it was all supported by a winery in California.
Mm-hmm.
But they did, for years, it was done, in studio, and occasionally they would do a live production for fundraising.
Mhm.
And a lot of the shows that went for military, as transcriptions during World War II, all that the government had, and they released them and put them online for the Library of Congress.
Uh-huh.
And there's like 80,000 radio programs that are available online from the Library of Congress, free.
Yeah.
So what these people have done is they've written an app that you pick what you want to listen to it from the Library of Congress out to you through the voice assistant, and you can tell it to back up. Some of them, depending upon the voice software that they've implemented, and you
Mhm.
can say, I'd like to listen tonight to Dragnet or Gunsmoke, and I'd like to listen to the Gunsmoke in the first season. Uh, and it's interesting. You pick up the vocabulary for the search engine, and in doubt, you can look it up online. That's how I found out it was basically the search engine from the Library of Congress. But it's really interesting for the old radio shows.
I always enjoyed The Shadow.
Oh, who knows what evil
Who
lurks.
knows what evil lurks in the heart of man?
Yep.
The Shadow knows. Or something on that order.
Yeah. And the kids shows, Buck Rogers,
Yep.
Flash Gordon, radio shows. Because they were at the movie theater, but they also had the radio show that went with it, so you're sure to go to the movies to see the next episode on the screen.
They had Gene Autry and Roy Rogers, Hopalong Cassidy,
Lone
and,
Ranger.
Lone Ranger, and Hoot Gibson, I think, for a while.
And then you had the Hollywood First Nighter.
Yeah.
I'll listen to them, and it brings back so many fond memories because that's all my family listened to. They didn't get a TV until I was 8 years old when we got a TV set.
You got it early.
Time, Detroit had 2 TV stations.
Yeah.
We went to the movie instead. It was 25 cents to get in. We get 50 cents, 25 cents to see 2 movies, three shorts or 4 shorts like Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon or Superman, or
Yeah.
4 shorts, and then 5 or 6 cartoons and another full-length movie. That kept my brother and I out of my parents' hair all day Saturday, every Saturday, for $1.
Built-in babysitter.
Oh yeah, and that was in the days when you could trust sending your kid to the theater.
Yep.
All right, y'all. I think I'm gonna call it a night. Got an early morning too.
Yep.
So
Sarge,
When are you
thanks.
gonna come back with your scroll? It's time you come up and do a scroll project some night live here.
yeah, it's coming.
He
Life's
chickened
got
out.
me right now. What's that?
Yeah, because I liked watching you do some of your stuff. Make me want to dig out my old scroll saw.
Oh, I said you chickened out.
I chickened out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I said, life's got me right now.
That's all right. I don't care. I just like giving you shit when I can.
Oh yeah, it's all good. Yeah, Robo's not here, so I can't give him grief.
Yeah, that's
but
right. Exactly.
Somebody needs it. Somebody needs to get it tonight.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, I'm out of here. You hurt my feelings.
All right.
See you later, Sarge.
I'll go to my cry room now.
All right. Take it easy. Go cry on Ida's shoulder.
Don't start a flood.
If you can't cry, you can use liquid tears. I thought you had a lathe in Hawaii with you.
No, I don't have one in Hawaii. I've been going to take one over, and I have one that I can take over. I've got a Bonnie Klein with a variable speed motor kit from Penn State, and it weighs just about the right amount to check it as luggage. But then you add some of the tooling that you might use and your tools, and next thing you know, you're going to burn up the
Yeah.
luggage allowance. Plus, I want to bring it back home again, and we always come home with more weight than we take over for one reason or another.
That's where you need to find someone there that get to know them well from a local club that's got a lathe you can borrow.
Well, I could probably do that. This was not the year to try that because everybody's all wound up about COVID.
Yeah.
The club in Kona is not even meeting.
Well, our
probably
club
at the
is
last meeting they had just before COVID lockdown happened.
Yeah. I've loaned 2 of my lathes out since COVID. They used to come over here and we'd spend the day in the garage turning.
Well, your shop's a long walk for me.
Yeah. I miss Alaska though. Everyone I know thinks I'm crazy when I say that. There's something about having fresh air, the crispness of the snow under your feet. Hear it actually crunch.
Yep.
A good team, out for a run.
Well, that can be really enervating, exciting.
Yep. You ever have a team?
Never have.
You've been out with one, haven't you?
Yep. Sure have.
Living outside Fairbanks, that's where I got to have them, and it was all loaned to me because the musher that lived next door, he used the part of the kennels that were at my place because the person that owned the house was a fellow musher. The university took it back, and then that's what I got to live in. They said, "Do you want rustic?" And I said, "Has it got a fireplace?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "Yes." I thought I knew what cold was coming from Idaho and cabin living. That was different.
Yeah, in Fairbanks, it hurts when you step outside sometimes.
It looks like you lost it again.
Jewish is of Irish history.
You'd find
You're supposed to
burning
be
wood right now in Fairbanks would not be the best way to go. The municipality's bearing down on all wood fires for home heating because of the air pollution.
So it's starting to build up. This is what I'm at now, trying to get this. that's the finish you get.
Yep. That's nice. That's a nice piece.
Yep. And I'm at 3,000 now,
Uh-huh.
and I go up to 5.
You're using a cloth backed or paper back? Wet and dry?
It's a wet dry paper.
Yeah.
And she left it at about 1,200, 1,000 somewhere in there. So I went back to 800 and it went up from there.
Mm-hmm.
She was in a hurry because it was a live demo.
Mm-hmm. For demonstration purposes, she went to only to 3,000, you said?
No,
You went to
I've taken it
3,000. Yeah.
out. She usually takes it to 1,200,
Okay.
1,000, 1,200, somewhere in there. Because that's the best resolution she has on cameras.
Yeah.
So I decided, because this is the second one I've won off of her, and she's really nice at being able to call, and I can call her and ask for help, or just times it's been, I'll get a message from her asking just how am I doing.
That's good.
But I've got a couple of things that I have made that now on the 17th, I've got 2 appointments coming up at the VA. So I got 2 things I give to the people that treat me. They're not supposed to take any gratuity, but they say it's an art collection.
Well, that's what it is, of course.
And there are people that, like my principal provider, got a PhD in hospital administration and a master's in nursing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known her since she started on her master's program. And it's really interesting, when I go to see her. And then
That's an
she has
interesting
an assistant.
combination.
Yeah, she's got an assistant that, and I always call her Dr. Gray, because she's not only an MD, but she's a PhD. And the PhD goes first in protocol. And her doctorate's a doctorate in nursing or hospital administration. But her other doctors, she worked her way up through the nursing side of it and got her specialty. So it's really interesting. But she's got 5 or 6 things in her office. And she asked me one day that by law, she can't keep anything. They can't accept anything as gratuity. But it's a piece of art, and they're custom made just for her with her name on them. Then it's different. Like a desk set.
Yeah.
With a nameplate hand carved in it. But other stuff that I've done, I give them to her, and the comment is, you find someone who's depressed, just give it to them. It's to perk up somebody. And I've been to other clinics, and lo and behold, there's my piece sitting on display in their office.
You're going to own that place pretty soon.
Well, I've taken probably 20 pieces and given them away to different people, different specialists and that. As I say, it's just a hunk of wood.
To the uninitiated.
Yep. I don't know if Jay's going to pick it up again. It looks like it might have timed out. I should be glad when I can get to see a barber.
So he usually starts about what time your time? What time your time does he usually start?
Around 9.
Around 9, so that's around 5 p.m.
Yeah.
my time, I think.
You're Pacific?
We're Alaska, which is
One more over.
5 hours actually.
Yeah.
No,
Well, it's 11.
if I come in on a 9 a.m. Detroit Woodworkers meeting, I have to essentially access it around 4:30 or so, and it's effectively 5 a.m.
Yeah. Well, Robo does it now. It's the middle of the night for him.
Yeah.
And the two of them are members. And the club is really surprised the fact that it now is an international club because we've got members from 4 other countries
Mm-hmm.
that are active online.
Yeah.
And it's great because our members are finding out that they're not so strange and they're not having they're having similar problems with being shut in, or before shut in time it was, hey, you have the same thing. People are people. And it's nice that you can always talk about what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like on Tuesday, Fridays, when you make it into Britain.
Yeah, Tuesday and Friday I make it to Great Britain.
Yeah.
And that's about 10:30 a.m. my time. So right smack in the middle of the morning when non-IRD days, the day is really rolling by then because I start about 6 a.m.
Hey, have you done any local live stuff, or your club you can get into?
We haven't. We're doing IRDs at the club. Our club meeting on Saturday, we'll have a IRD. A Zoom. It'll be a Zoom meeting, and one of our
Right.
guys who does a lot of inside-outside turning is going to do a demo on goblet stems. He's got some weird-looking goblet stems that he turns.
That'd be fun to see. You charge to attend them?
No, it's wide open. Do you have the info you need to get into it yet? If not, I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
I'll
if
send
you
it to
would.
you. Yeah. I'll send you the info.
Then we might have some of our people be interested, and it makes the world smaller. And I think
Yeah.
when you make it smaller socially, it is safer. At least we perceive the fact that we're not the only ones having trouble.
Well, I've always thought that the world needed to be larger in many respects. And I've worked overseas and lived overseas. And so dealing with people in another country, speaking the same basic language but different dialects doesn't bother me a bit.
Yep. That's when I started. I picked it up from a Korean, young Korean kid. Call him a kid. He was in his 20s, but to me at the time, uh, and he was had just escaped from Korea to Hong Kong
Uh-huh.
while it was still British Hong Kong,
Yeah.
and he had a visa to get into Canada to go to school in Toronto, uh, which was easy to get at the time because it was still British at the time.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. I mean, just being able to, people got to know him and it made the world smaller
Oh,
because
yeah.
you realize that everybody has the same problems. And I used to come up and I've stolen his phrase, same, same, only different.
Hmm. Well, if you could take the politics out of it by those who want to run everything, the world would, people to people works pretty well.
Yes. What bothers me, and I got, because of family that work in Uncle Sam's government,
Mm-hmm.
and have for a long, long time, and students that I've had years ago when I ran a research lab at the University of Michigan. I worked for and carried ultra clearances at no such agency.
Mm-hmm.
Is the fact that the world is smaller and you just, it can be very scary. So you've got to be able to talk to people, but you can't talk about what's scary. But that adds calmness when they can have some of that calmness of people that have totally naivete.
Yeah.
It looks like Jay's left us out. No use tying up his airtime. So hopefully you can jump in tomorrow night or whatever, and Rover will be back
I'll
too.
sure try. We have a strange schedule here in the house. We've got two daughters who are flight attendants, and they travel through and travel in, and they use our place as a crash pad at odd hours. You never know quite how the family schedule is going to run from one day to the next. But I will duck in and see if I can get on.
Okay, now there is a group that I put together for Jay. It's Jay's.
I just go to our messenger.
Yeah, I put them up for you.
Yeah.
It's called Jay's Wood Turning.
Yep.
And I have taken all the people that normally attend, and we've made that group up. It's just a group, a messenger group in Facebook under Messenger. That way, all he has to do is post it once, and it goes out to all those people who want to be notified
Mm-hmm.
because they join it. And that's the easiest way of making sure you get them, because he'll give an hour post ahead of time, and then he'll put it up at the end of at that hour time, and it's usually about 10-15 minutes early before he goes live.
Mm-hmm.
That way we can chat with each other and not be distracting.
Yeah.
So it's Jay's JAY''S wood turning. Yes, Jay's wood turning. And it's a group. So I'll head off to bed. I got a dog whimpering. That means I don't want to mess, so I gotta go let him out the door. Catch you later.
Kiddo, catch you later. Thanks, Bob.
Yep, thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bob Whitmore?
No, Bob Elliott.
What?